Look down at your body. Some of that stuff doesn't do anything, and I'm about to call it out.
They tell the kids, we've got vestigial structures. Now, a vestigial structure is something you don't need anymore.
Tails are like opinions. Basically, everyone has them. Fish, birds, most reptiles, and even some of our closest relatives. So, why are we missing out?
If these specialized limbs are so useful, why don't humans have them? Why don't people, you, me, David Hasselhoff, have tails? Well, there are two answers. First, we don't really need them.
I was taught when I went to school, man used to have a tail, but he lost it because he didn't need it.
Our ancestors did have tails, and at some point, you had a tail too. Each of us has a coccyx or tailbone made of fused vertebrae. In other primates, this coccyx leads to the tail, but again, we don't really need it.
I thought, didn't need it. Have you ever thought how handy a tail would be?
We don't need a tail to help us hold on to things while we swing through the trees because, as a species, we don't regularly Tarzan our way around the forest anymore, which is a little unfortunate if you ask me.
Have you ever come to the door with 2 sacks of groceries? Wouldn't that be nice, man, to be able to grab that door and walk right around and get in? Lost it because we didn't need it.
Why have a tail if you don't use it? It's just another thing that takes energy from the rest of the body.
Man, you could drive the car and tune the radio knob and hold a Coke at the same time.
It's a vestigial organ.
That is stupid, folks. The tailbone is not vestigial. The coccyx, that's the tailbone, the small bone at the end of the human vertebral column, has no present function and is thought to be the remainder of bones that once occupied the long tail of a tree-living ancestor.
It's an early fossil ape. It lived about 18 to 20 million years ago, and this is just one of the many partial skeletons that we've got of this creature.
That is stupid.
Scientists are able to complete a picture of these ancient primates. And a tiny bone from the base of the spine reveals a lot about where its spinal cord ends.
That is the last sacral vertebra of a proconsul.
Okay.
And I'm going to try to match it up to the one on this chimpanzee. This little bone here is this part of a proconsul.
Oh, I see. So it's
a smaller bodied animal than a chimpanzee, but you've got that anatomy there, that ridge indicating to you that we're looking at the last sacral vertebra.
You can still see a reminder of a time when our ancient primate ancestors had one. Just look at a human spine. You can see how the last few bones are partially fused together. That's your tailbone. It's all that's left of our tail.
It is not a tail, and it is certainly not without function. In fact, if I were to rank the bones of the body on how important they are by how many different muscles attach from how many different directions, I would rank the tailbone up near the top. If you've ever fallen on your tailbone or your coccyx, you know it hurts. Just about any position you're in, it hurts. That's because all of these muscles pulling on this little piece of bony real estate.
So, ouch, thank you, inner monkey.
The whole rim of your pelvis, your hip bones, have muscles that converge on that little point of bone. These muscles form what's called the pelvic diaphragm. It's a muscular bowl deep down in our pelvis, and setting above it would be the bladder, the uterus, and other parts of the bowel.
We're bipedal, meaning we walk on 2 legs, so our center of gravity passes vertically down our spine, so we don't need a tail to counterbalance the weight of our heads.
If this muscle were not there, then because we are standing upright, things would tend to herniate or pass through this floor. You can't overestimate the importance of this critical anchoring point for 6 really major muscles of the pelvic diaphragm. The pelvic diaphragm is a muscular bowl. It attaches to the brim of the pelvis here and then converges and attaches to the coccyx. That muscular floor holds the organs that reside in this lower part of the abdomen and pelvis.
Our center of gravity passes vertically down our spine, so we don't need a tail to counterbalance the weight of our heads.
Now, if we didn't have that muscular floor, because we stand vertically, the first time we would go like that, whoopee, things could sort of just go right down through this area, but that muscular floor holds everything in place. So an exceedingly important bony structure. Not a useless, leftover vestigial tail.
so we don't need a tail to counterbalance the weight of our heads.
That is stupid.
Not long ago, a theistic evolutionist revealed once again how far they will go to defend evolution. During a debate with Discovery Institute's Dr. Stephen Meyer, theistic evolutionist Dr. Carl Giberson showed a photo of a human infant with a monkey-like tail. He did this to drive home his point that humans share a common descendant from a tailed ancestor. The only thing Dr. Giberson failed to mention was that he found the photo at the website cracked.com, an online humor website inspired by Mad Magazine. Though he later apologized, he insisted that his point was still valid.
They'll say, boys and girls, you have an appendix that you don't need anymore.
The appendix was useful at one point, for example, but now it's just kind of chilling. Some primates have appendices and use them to digest tough cellulose, but we really don't eat that anymore. So now we don't need it.
That's a vestigial structure. That's proof of evolution.
Over the generations of humans, it's become slowly less pronounced, but it's still present, like an evolutionary intestinal time bomb.
Well, excuse me, you do need your appendix, okay? That is stupid. The appendix is part of your immune system. If your appendix is taken out, you can still live, okay? But it increases your susceptibility to quite a few diseases. You could live without both your legs and both your arms and both your eyes also. That doesn't prove you don't need them.
So we have tails, and we're covered in fur at birth, and somehow we didn't evolve from animals? Get out of town.
That is stupid.
We have a whole other host of vestigial items. Goosebumps.
That is stupid.
Tonsils.
That is stupid.
Wisdom teeth.
That is stupid.
And other things left over from when we had fur.
That is stupid.
My favorite, though, our third eyelid.
That is stupid.
We have a vestigial third eyelid, just like reptiles, guys. It was designed. 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 It was designed to keep the eyeball moist and to protect it. And now we put that baby in a corner, genetically speaking.
That is stupid.
What is an evolutionary trait that you wish we hadn't dropped? There are a bunch of lists online if none of these tickle your fancy, or just, let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching D-News, everyone, and keep your DNA clean, okay?
Hey, the tailbone is not vestigial. One guy told me, he said, up at Berkeley, he said, I think the tailbone is vestigial. I said, well, I taught biology and anatomy. I happen to know there are 9 little muscles that attach to the tailbone, without which you cannot perform some valuable functions. I won't tell you what they all are, but trust me, you need those muscles. Get your Gray's Anatomy. Now, if you believe the tailbone is vestigial, then I will pay to have yours removed. Okay? Bend over.
O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science, falsely so called, which some professing have erred concerning the faith.